Jay Finning here, and I want to tell you guys about 4Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. Their truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitters today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4, Wheel Online. This is Hard Parking Podcast, the other side of the wheel, brought to you by Right Honda out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jay Finning. Coming up on today's show, Ed Boy. He is out of Indiana. He is a big-time Infiniti guy, as some of you who have been following the show know, which, by the way, I finally sold my 2007 Infiniti FX35 Sport. $6,000 cash out the door. Anyway, going back to Ed, he has a bunch of Infinitis, and I had an opportunity to get him on the phone and have a conversation with him and ask him kind of about his obsession with Infinitis and Nissans and find out why it is he's so interested in the brand. It has to do with his professional career, which isn't directly related to cars. Then we're going to get into some car news. I want to talk about the MDX Type S, as well as Lamborghini has come out and talked that there will be a new Countach. I have thoughts on that. In fact, I might as well jump into my thoughts on that right now. Plus, I have the random thought of the week, but going to the Lamborghini Countach. You know, when I was a kid, I had the Vector on the wall, but one of the other posters on everyone's wall that's around my age, I'm 45, is a Lamborghini Countach. And back then, that style and that design was so aggressive. Maybe that's why I like the Vector so much. But I question what they're going to be able to do now because there's so many exotic cars in the world. Like, how are they going to make this car stand out? Because that's difficult. You know, I am thinking about selling my NSX. Those close to me know that I have a potential buyer already. And, you know, if I can get on the list for the Acura NSX Type S, I want to get on that list. There's two thoughts here. Number one, the thought is that Acura's not going to sell out. But I think the fact that they announced that it would be a limited edition, it's going to be the last year of the Acura NSX. It's a Type S, so it has more performance, that it's going to sell out because they haven't sold a lot of them, and it has nothing to do with the actual car itself. I think it has all to do with marketing and direction, car flippers, greedy dealerships, and it just never really caught on beyond nothing more than a halo car. And according to Acura, because one of the things that happens when we go to NS Expo is we get to literally sit down next to the top brass of Acura. And according to them, they did everything that they set out to do. And it's time to move forward. It's time to take that technology and integrate it into newer models around the brand. And who knows, maybe we see another NSX again. Maybe I may or may not know anything. Chances are I know a lot. Anyway, coming up, Ed Boy. It's time for the social media highlight of the week, brought to you by the Cell Shop. Cell Shop is an Arizona-based retailer that strives to be your destination of choice for wireless services. Visit them at cellshop.us. That's cellshop.us. Today's special guest is Ed Boy, fellow Infiniti enthusiast, arguably way more than I am, but I'm working on getting there. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I kind of ran into you on the Infiniti page on Facebook. I don't remember if it was the Infiniti scene or the sub one, which is just the QX and FX page, which also kind of skipping around on YouTube and looking for content. Because here's the thing, 9 years ago, I searched for all sorts of things and nobody was really doing anything. Every once in a while, somebody had like a custom wide body and turbo, but no one really had the small little things that I'm into. So I stopped.
The regular stuff, yeah.
The regular stuff. I stopped looking. You know, fast forward to this year, and I was like, all right, I wanted to replace the car. It's getting up there in mileage. I don't know much about it. You know, just I want to get something new. And I totally forgot about the FX50. And then I think everybody was kind of looking at the same time. And then I started really getting into it. And then I started seeing your name pop up even more and more and more. And so you have many. you have what, Nissans and Infinitis, which corporate cousins. Why do you have so many? Are those all yours in those YouTube videos?
Yes. Most of the ones that make appearances in my videos are mine. Very rarely do I, maybe I'm working on someone's problem. If someone close enough to me approaches me and to say, hey, it would just make sense if you left the car with me. But I got into, let me say, Nissans, like most people I got into Infinitis, like most people get into the family for a Nissan Maxima. And I got into Nissan Maximas because back in the day, I started looking at about, 12, 13 years ago. You wanted Japanese reliability was where it was at, but, Hondas and Toyotas were a little too expensive at the time. So I knew, and back in the day, Nissans were top of the game with regards to performance, with decent reliability.
Sure.
So that's how I stumbled into the game. And, Nissan Maxima leads into the into the Infiniti M's. And, at some point you just pursue the best that Infiniti can offer. So that's how we cross paths with the FX.
Why do you have so many?
Well,
how many do you have? So some of my listeners, how many models that you have?
Okay, Infiniti M45s, currently have 2 of those. Have a single one Q45, 3 Infiniti M56s, and then the FX50. Well, all V8s. Those are the ones I claim. We've got the family Nissan Murano at this present time. And the main reason is research. Just because I'm one of those people that my work is my hobby is my work. Mm-hmm. I enjoy what I do. So kind of transfer what I do for a living into work. I work in, I don't want to say work in failure, but I work in industry as I work in reliability. So that means that I like to understand how things fail. Mm-hmm. And usually my typical car buying process was I buy an older model, high mileage, try to look at it, see how well or how badly they age. And then I make that decision as to whether I want to invest into the, younger, lower mileage models and things like that. And part of it is it's just exciting to look at them and buy a car that's running, take it apart, try to understand anything that could go wrong with it, and then just put it back together. And sometimes I've done that and just share what I know and sell it, So that's kind of why I have so many. It's usually just a pursuit of learning and just trying to understand the best or the worst that could happen with these vehicles. So, well, that's kind of the path I'm on with the FX50.
Yeah, and it's kind of unique because I think those of us that are kind of tinker into the car world, we always hear of somebody somewhere who there's a guy in this small town over here who owns 15 MGs and only 3 of them work, and there's a guy over here who owns whatever, and so you're kind of that. And because there's not a lot of enthusiasts, right? I mean, when people think of Infiniti, they think of
the red sport. I think is kind of what people think of,
Yeah, they think of the exactly. You're
the high performance model, so to say. Yeah, and there's room, and there are a lot of people who, maybe don't go into the whole fastest lap, fastest 0 to 60 times, quarter miles. Average people just drive vehicles and do maintenance and then, discover features and stuff like that. And I got to tell you, in the past, most of my videos were on huge repairs, suspension work, engine work, and things like that. And then I came to realize that sometimes those were what I call crisis videos. And you would go into YouTube and say, how do I do this on an Infiniti M? And then my videos would pop up. But then over time, I realized there's yet another market. People who want to know how to change your wiper blades. People who want to know what do you do when your battery dies. So I started making more videos like that, where they would because not many people would be replacing the engines, not even in their lifetime. So I said, let me try to cover other things. So that's the relevance of my channel, and to try to stay objective and just share what I know with no hidden agenda to it.
So for me personally, in a selfish way, did you just get your 50?
Yes, I bought it in January of this year. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know a lot of us just recently got our 50s, and so I'm going to be looking to you to tinker with stuff because is yours an 09 as well or 10?
It is an 09, yeah, specifically. I wanted an 09 specifically for my entry level, yeah.
And what mileage do you have?
209,000 and some change.
Okay, so you're a little ahead of me, and mine's at like a buck 28, right? So
Oh,
I'm going to
what a
be looking
baby.
at your, I know,
Young.
for things. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be disappointed when I need to change something and I can't find it. So I've watched a lot of your videos lately, and you just kind of step through just kind of the standard thing. So it's nothing like, okay, guys, here's how you do all this performance stuff. It's let's take a tour of the Infinity system, or the backup camera. Here's the bird's eye view camera. More of an educational approach. You've been making these videos for a while, haven't you?
I have. I think I got immersed seriously into the Infinity world around 2016, actually. Although I've owned it for a lot longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started making those how-to videos. Yeah. But although I think if you check my YouTube stats, I joined YouTube in 2009, but it wasn't for anything. Back then, I wanted to watch a video that was restricted, so I had to register. And it wasn't like anything raunchy or anything. I don't know why they restricted the video. So I watched it and just hung around. So I just started sharing videos little by little, and here we are.
If we knew then, right?
Yeah.
If we only knew then what we know now about YouTube. So you're based out of Indiana.
Currently located in Indiana. That's right. Terre Haute, Indiana.
Terre Haute. I kind of know where that is because I lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan for 15 years before we moved here to Arizona 7 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Quite an extreme change, huh?
It is quite an extreme change.
Real cold to real hot.
Real cold to real hot. Yeah, exactly. It's like if I could do those winters, I could do these summers. And I got to be honest with you, I will take the heat over some of that.
Really? Oh, crazy. I mean, for cars, I would take the heat. I thought I would. But see, well, I'll explain why. Generally, I guess as a person, I'd take the cold because, the things you can do for the cold tell you, to basically take care of it. But with heat, you can't take so many clothes off before someone calls the cops on you,
100%.
So, but like as a car owner, you're like, well, salt, snow and things like that. So with the FXs, and I don't know if your first FX was like that, these vehicles don't do well with heat and the dashboards and things like that. So cracking, melting, bubbling. Did you have any dashboard issues with your 07, you said?
So my 07, it had the famous dimples all over the place because of the glue.
Oh, yeah.
But I got that taken care of after I bought the car at Coulter Infinity, not Coulter Infinity, Infinity of Grand Rapids. And they just took care of it as kind of a extended service type of deal, and which was really nice, obviously. Nice. But my 50 is just, it is toward shit.
It started? Oh, wow. Okay. And is yours an 09 as well?
It is. It didn't start. It's terrible.
Oh.
and I didn't know anything about that. So when I got in the car, I started looking around. I was like, damn, is this like a flood damaged car? Like what the hell happened here? But then as I did more research, I just found that's just the case. And I mean, there are chunks. So you can see like the exposed foam underneath. Like there are literally chunks.
The foam underneath. Oh, wow.
Okay. How is yours beat up or no?
Cracks, just micro cracks, kind of on the really close to edges where the panels meet other panels.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the cracks are. So nothing in the middle, nothing, no chunks missing yet. I've got some work. I intend to take the dashboard cover off, but I'm scared because I don't think it's going to go back in one piece, And now I'm here debating, well, should I just buy a new dashboard and install it? The car's got 210,000 miles. Should I? So it's not bad. It's not terrible. Unless I told you, you wouldn't know to look for it. I mean, as an FX owner, maybe you might be, versed enough to check, but normal people, my passengers, people I give rides to, no one really notices it,
Oh, the first thing people do when I get in my car is
guys, we
yeah.
Oh, that bad? Wow.
They look at it and they're like, what's up with this?
To clue you ahead on the nature of the stuff I wanted, it's that and maybe we could do a different video as to how I shop, such a YouTuber, a different podcast, a different session at some time why I shop the way I do. But I wanted to get the highest mileage Infinity FX to see what's the worst that could happen to an FX, So one of those things is going to be these are the things to look forward to whenever you get to 200,000 miles, give or take, So that's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. And I'm not talking about where like your suspension is going to be shot and things like that. I'm just talking about you shouldn't really expect this kind of stuff from a vehicle just because of age, So those are some of the things I intend to cover in the future. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, okay? Because I have my 07 listed for sale, and
okay,
people lowball offer all the time, and you can kind of sniff out a car flipper when you find them. But one of the things that one of the guys was saying is he started asking me, he goes, "Well, have you replaced the engine yet?" And I go, "No." "Have you replaced the transmission yet?" And I go, "I have not." And I have 180,000 on it. And he said, "Well,
yeah,
I'm only going to offer you this much because, those have to be replaced eventually." And I said, "Look, man, I put 8,000 miles on this car a year. So by your logic, I'm 2.5 years away from probably having problems because I've noticed on the board, people say around 200,000, you may start noticing issues." I said, "I can't give you my car for cheap because of what might happen in the future."
Exactly.
In all your research and all your high miles engines, I mean, is it some of the old Mazda RX-7s would blow their motors by like 60,000? That's how they just tanked like the 93 until I don't think they ever fixed that. But what have you seen? I mean, is this guy, am I wrong here on this?
I think reliability is pretty solid, and especially, in 07, the VQ35. I understand when the VQ35 came out, oil issues, consumption issues, which also plagued the VK45, the FX45s. But I think I usually say this: if a vehicle has made it up to this year that we're looking at it, it's probably crossed the most troublesome ones were addressed within the first few years, and that's the danger of buying a new car at the time. 07, I don't think there were any problems at that time. And two, I mean, if you keep up with maintenance, it's fine. I think there's this old school mentality that carried from back in the day that a car could never make it to 200,000 or 200,000 was like, it's about dead now. And I think it also goes to the other thing that, you spoke to the guy. He, you said you kind of felt like they were flipper. I think that's a psychological tactic right there. Just kind of letting you know, hey, you should be scared of what you've got with you, because I have a feeling the same person is going to go ahead, and when they try to sell it, they're going to say, well, these are reliable. You could find them with 270, 300,000 miles out there, So it's a tactic, and that's the hustle. It's all good, but I usually say this, like, okay, if I were to sell you my car with a new engine, are you going to pay me more for the new engine? No, they're not. They're going to look at Blue Book, and they're going to charge, they're going to pay you whatever Blue Book says is, fair, excellent, good value for whatever the vehicle is. So, I mean, I understand the hustle, and especially during these times, the market value for used cars has really jumped. So, hey, worth trying, but I don't think it's true. And see, when I buy a vehicle like this, obviously do my test drive, and you cross your fingers, you hope they didn't put some sludge in there to like hide an engine knob or anything like that. But at this mileage, the vehicle feels just fine. And I usually play this game again, trying to understand the way I shop. I get a low mileage vehicle, and I have the highest mileage I can find. Just as an example, I have an M56 that I bought mine at like 80,000. My daily driver, so to say. Then I bought another project, it had 270,000 when I saw it, but the guy didn't want to sell it to me. I mean, our prices were just a little too far away. So I got it with like 290,000 miles. The engine got damaged, and I still got it because, again, for me, it's research. But I wanted to get a car like that so that I can say, well, I know it's made it all the way to 270. Let's just see with good maintenance, how far it's going to go. So I don't really ascribe to the school thought that says that once it's 120, 100, whatever this mileage is, I'm scrapping it. Well, obviously, I'll pay less for the high mileage one.
Right. Sure.
But it's not because I expect the vehicle to just self-grenade in a few days, Otherwise, why buy it, So, yeah, I don't think they either were playing a game or they just misinformed, is what I'd say.
Yeah.
At which point I usually ask, why are you buying it then if you think it's unreliable,
I like that. I should have used that because I go, are you familiar with these cars? And they're like, yeah, I'm very familiar with these cars and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, I happen to be a car person too. I didn't say this to him, but I'm thinking it's like, I'm not like, I don't have to sell this car. It's sitting in my driveway right now. I don't need to sell it. You know, the worst thing it's doing is taking up an extra space in my driveway. So.
And thankfully it's the wheels, so it's not a big problem. You know, it's not like you parked a fridge over there. So,
yeah, because I had another guy.
It can still be moved, rolled around. It's all good.
Yeah, because I had another guy say, well, you know, I could, how's the car? I go, it's great. I could get in the car today and drive it to New York tomorrow without worrying. He goes, how old are the tires? I go, the tires are a few years old, but I don't really drive. They seem pretty fine. Oh, okay. Well, I'll offer you this. I mean, because I'm going to have to, because my seat cushion's ripped. I'm going to have to buy a seat cushion and buy new tires. I'm like, well, I mean, you can. That's on you.
Yeah, if you wanted to, right? Yeah, that's on you, exactly.
Because we know what the deal is.
I suppose that's the hustle. Did you buy and sell cars on Craigslist much, or did you ever look at Craigslist much? You know, back when Craigslist was the way to trade.
I actually think I may have found my Infiniti on Craigslist, the first one, and I'm the second owner of it. And it was a young couple who had just bought an Infiniti, an Audi Q5, and they had like 10 days to either find a seller or trade it in for less money. And it was nearby, and so it wasn't the color I wanted. I mean, I wanted the copper. You know, everybody wanted the copper back then. And you know, it's the darker silver color, and you know, that's I mean, that's how I found it.
So I mean. Okay, so and the reason I brought up Craigslist is that those were Craigslist tactics back in the day, you know, and I don't know, I've always tried to kind of keep that respect and dignity whenever you're trying to buy a car, but people would try to tell you how junky your car was, and I mean, as a seller, I hung around because, you know, we try to catch them on the, you know, call them on their bluff, but to tell you how junky it was, but at the same time, try to let you know that I still want to buy it.
Right.
So I think that's that example of the tires and the seats. I mean, I guess I can see with the seats, but I'm like, buddy, it's got 180,000 miles. What kind of seat condition were you expecting? You know, I didn't tell you that it's got a brand new interior. Or the other thing with the tires, now that's usually an interesting one because I usually said, I'd rather just give you the credit because, and I do these, you know, this kind of analysis. As I said, I carry from work, just live with it. It's that if I spend $700, $800 on new tires, are you going to give me more money for my new tires or not?
And the answer is no.
The other, right? The other disadvantageous part is that I could put new tires on there to sell them to you. Then you go ahead and change the wheels, you know, put some 20s, 22s, or 26s, whatever it is. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, that was a waste of money. You
Colossal.
know? So I think people do say this, and I remember salespeople saying that. Salespeople who I've traded the car in once in my life, and I looked at how they, you know, just try to see what value they put on things, what value they put on the decent tires. None. But a tire salesman, I remember them saying, "Oh yeah, your tires are okay, but you know, if you ever thought about selling the car, then that's a selling point right there." And yeah, people talk about it, but at the end of the day, maybe people who buy your car to like just drive want to do the least amount of work on it. But that's a different price point as well. You know, if I was buying a car for $3,000 and it had new tires, okay, well, that's different. But if I'm buying a car for, you had the list? Did you? I don't know if you told me the price, but I'm guessing you've got 180,000. Is it like 7,000 or so? Is that kind of what you listed it at?
It is. Originally, it's 7,000 or best offer, and then after like a few weeks, I dropped it down to 6,500 or best offer, and that's where it is. And by the way, yeah, all of that bullshit came through on Craigslist.
Yeah, it just seems to always, I don't know, that's just, I can't explain why the culture is like that, but you know.
But it's like, I know what I have, man.
So just about whatever happens to cars, you know, to if you try to trade your vehicle in at a used car dealership, you know, I guess it just brought that whole haggling and generally just horrible culture to Craigslist. So, yeah, but I guess the price, or maybe you might have mentioned it, I don't know, but in my mind, I have 7,000 would be fair for the year mileage and all that. And if I bought a car for that, I do. It's not a brand new car. I expect to kind of put some work into it. And personally, I'd rather take that credit for tires and do it myself than you put some borderline junky tires for me, or just brand new Chinese tires. And now I'm stuck in this situation like, okay, I've got new tires. I can't just change them, you know? So, and that's the kind of stuff like I take into consideration. You know, I look at the vehicle, I judge the vehicle for what the vehicle can do. Tires can be replaced, you know, the things that can be undone, but like, how does the vehicle drive? How does it feel? How does it sound? And things like that. Kind of the unique
normal
things
stuff
to that vehicle, the things you cannot take away from the vehicle, right? Because never really a holder for me.
Everybody, I say, hey, you're welcome to come see it. When would you like to come see it? And of course, you know, it's nothing. But I tell you what, we got to, how do people get a hold of you?
The best way, still kind of old school, is my email address, edboy@gmail.com, EDBWOY@gmail.com. Or I recently got a Facebook page. It's EDBWOY Edboy as well. And social media, I'm kind of trying to get better. So I don't have any Instagram or Twitter handles to share. But with time, maybe I'll get there when, you know, if the whole enterprise got large enough and I was able to employ somebody at a fair price, I might get that. But for now, you know, juggling the YouTube thing and family life and work, I'm kind of limited to those. So,
yeah. And the YouTube, it's the same deal. EDBWOY. So I think it's a top source, you know, for Infiniti and some Nissan stuff for there too. So I want to thank you for joining the Hard Parking Podcast, and we need to do this again. In fact, I have a segment I think you would be perfect for if you would like to come back every once in a while, the Builder's Corner segment.
Sounds good. Well, just let me know when, and we'll make it happen. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being able to talk to somebody about Infiniti. You know, usually I'm just talking to myself. You know, so. Oh no,
I'll be your person
helps to make sure I'm not just insane.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
I want to thank Ed for coming by the show. I'm going to go ahead and drop his contact information in the show description. So make sure you go and check that out. I think you have to be subscribed to the show in order for those links to be active. But I want to talk about my random thought of the week. And the reality is I've been thinking about this for a while. Because if you notice on social media, people who have vanity plates want you to know they have vanity plates. I have vanity plates. But people who don't, they take the extra time to blur out their license plate. It's interesting. So if I have my VF1S NSX plate out, you better believe I want the world to see it. But if it's just QXPR103B, I'm still not going to blur it out, but a lot of people would. And it's like this. For those of you who blur it out, I get it. You don't want people to type in your license plate and find out where you live through a few connections, come and steal your shit or come and repo your shit. I'm not that paranoid. I think that's a little extra, to use a term that the kids are using these days. But when you have a vanity plate, it's like, here, my vanity plate says my fat X. You want everybody to see it for the comical value, for the personalization value, and you don't care that somebody could do the same thing with that plate, just like they could with the miscellaneous plate with all the weird numbers. They could still reverse that to your home address and come steal your car or break into your car. Or if you are a debtor and you owe payments, they can use it to track your vehicle. But it's kind of a weird thing. So I challenge everybody listening to this to kind of go back and scroll through social media and you'll see it. I'm right. Of course I'm right. People with vanity plates want you to see it. People that don't have vanity plates blur that shit out as if someone's going to come looking after them. But as I teased in the opening, I want to get into a little bit of car news. So here we go. So Lamborghini recently announced that they're coming out with a new Countach. Acura has the MDX Type S that I saw at NS Expo, and I will admit I did not walk over there and take a look at it. I did not open the door, did not videotape the inside, and I feel like I missed out a little bit. I missed out a little bit because Acura and local dealerships wanted to bring it up to show it to us, just like there was a Tiger Eye Pearl TLS Type S, which my friend Tyson has, and I didn't check that out either. It's like I get so used to going to these events and I care less and less about the vehicles. And I just talk with my friends, say what's up, get a couple drinks, get a couple more drinks, go on the cruise, go to the banquet. But I really wish I would have checked out the MDX Type S. It's the SUV. I'm a big SUV fan. You know, one of my dear friends drove it from the banquet back to the hotel, and I saw it had a giant screen. You know, Marcus from Heel Toe Automotive, I guess, kind of got in trouble for going live and showing everybody what the vehicle had, but I don't blame him. I blame Acura for giving it to us and not making us sign a non-disclosure agreement. But whatever it is, who cares? But I'm looking at pictures of this thing online, and man, it looks great. This thing looks great. It looks nicer than my Infiniti, obviously. But I'm curious to see what all the changes are. And I was just kind of dumb to not really pay much attention. Then we had the Lamborghini Countach. Now this, again, like I said in the opening, this thing captured everybody's imagination as a child. If you don't know what that looks like, just in case, I can assume everybody listening to this show knows what that looks like. Have you seen The Wolf of Wall Street where he has the white on white on white and he thinks that he was drunk and drove it home without a scratch, and the reality is he fucked the car up? That's a Lamborghini Countach. I challenge you to Google that, because every single one of you have seen that at some point in your life, whether it's on a poster of a wall or in a movie or maybe in person. In fact, I saw one of those in person when I was working the door at Margarita Grill, which is where I worked after the Bob back when I was a bouncer, and a guy had driven it down from Traverse City, and it was a black one. He parked right in front of the club. I was a security manager, and we had a conversation about his Countach, and he said, you know, he loves the car, but it's unreliable as shit. So the spark plug covers pop off or something really super goofy like that, like every 30 minutes. Now, I don't know if that was a Countach issue or his issue, but Car and Driver, Evo, even CNBC TV were talking about this Lamborghini Countach, this Lamborghini Countach. And I don't know, all these renders, they're just loose. The actual picture from Lamborghini, it's covered. And I really want to know what this thing looks like, me and everybody else, because in today's world, you have the Aventador, you have the Huracan, and any other variation, and that's it. And they're very similar. Like, whatever they do with this Countach, I want to see something that looks nostalgic, like kind of a retro build, but still has all the performance of a modern car, maybe cars of the future. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he's like, I'm going to buy one. I want to totally buy one. And I guess he has the money. He has a lot of money. But I don't know. I don't know if this timing works out for that car. hardparketpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what your thoughts are on the fact that Lamborghini is bringing back the Countach. And I'm going to go ahead and dip into my closing. So I want to thank Right Honda, Scottsdale, Arizona, high quality detail, Tempe, Arizona, ButcherBass.com, ForLone.com, and Cell Shop Wireless Services, The Credit Mix, Patreon Business, Border Career, Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida. So here's the thing. I don't like to do the pre-recorded things. So every single opening, segment, transition, and closing, they're not MP3s that I drag and drop. And I want you people to know. Yes, I said you people. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, join the Patreon for as low as $3 a month. Give you access to bonus content and some show swag I just mailed off. I just mailed off a bunch of envelopes the other day full of miscellaneous stuff that I bought specifically for the Patreon. So thank you all Patrons. Thank you everybody who's listening to the show. If you like it, hit subscribe. If you don't like it, I encourage you to listen again, because you will eventually come across an episode you do like. Pick up some swag at the Teespring store. Actually, don't wait for me to come up with my own shit. And remember, at the end of the day, I can't grow until you tell the world how great the show is. So let's do this. Let's grow this thing together, and I will talk to you all next week.
Now it's stripping time.
Shut up! Are you tired of blowing out your back at the bathtub while washing your dog, or subjecting your canine to a water torture bath while leashed up to a post outside? Now there's a far more effective way to wash your pet while saving your back and keeping your dog happy. It's called Booster Bath, a portable bathtub on legs. Head over to boosterbath.com, one word, and pick one up. Available in 3 sizes, this tub system features a drain, a soap cubby, and water controlling wand. This tub conveniently breaks down to be stored when not in use. Want to save 10% on your first time purchase? Head over and sign up today to make that happen. Boosterbath.com.
Hey, this is Levi Epps, hashtag Mr. Financial Freedom of The Credit Mix, here with a special offer for Hard Parking Podcast fans. If you've been living with less than perfect credit, for having evictions, late payments, bankruptcies. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's something that negatively impacts your credit score and you're not able to get approvals for certain things, or maybe you got to pay large deposits and high interest rates, we don't want that to be you anymore. We have a program that will legally get negative items off of your credit report and keep them off. And we have a special code for a free consultation to see if we can help you. Text HP Credit to 737-4CREDIT. That's HP Credit to 737-427-3348. Let's get you back on the road to financial freedom.
Are you tired of your dog losing its cool in a thunderstorm or fireworks? You might want to look at Tongue Treats. TongueTreats.com. High anxiety relief, pain relief, inflammation relief. It's a direct connection between the tongue and the brain. Doesn't waste time going down to the stomach, where it gets broken down, enters the bloodstream, then to the brain eventually. By then, little Izzy, my dog, has been hiding under the house for like 20 minutes. The Tongue Treat CBD strips provide rapid results for your pet with the right amount of CBD, which is not psychoactive. It's important to test and verify your pet is getting the proper dosage. A single strip should be enough. Have doubts? There's certified analysis from a lab available on the website. Think about it: efficacy and economy. Tongue Treats.